Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Tatami Room titled KAPIC, which is an acronym for the Kagoshima Asian Pacific Intercultural Countryside Center. And let me tell you, they're not kidding about the countryside part of that, but I'll be elaborating about that a little bit more later on. I am finally back in the studio next to my tatami room. I spent a significant chunk of this week traveling, just being in Kagoshima and KAPIC, so I'm really happy to be back. Brief overview for today's episode includes daily life, where I'll talk about Kagoshima pre and post KAPIC. I'll talk about KAPIC or KAPIC itself. Recently I've noticed that I've been referring to it as KAPIC a little bit more. I think that's because of the number of British and Australian people I interacted with while I was there, and now I'm switching my my diction from KAPIC to KAPIC. That will be followed up by a current events section where I'll talk about the FIBA World Cup, which is happening around this time, and I will be concluding today's episode with the word and the stat of the week, like always. So please enjoy today's episode, and let's cut to the break. Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's begin the daily life section by talking about Kagoshima, the Kagoshima orientation, and just kind of Kagoshima post KAPIC. I spent about 2 nights in Kagoshima, one at the beginning of the week on Monday and one night on Friday. So we arrived with my ALT coworker on Monday about midday from Tanegashima to Kagoshima, and we were starving, so we were able to go grab some food, and we ended up grabbing McDonald's just because we missed home, and there's not really many Western places on the island. I'm not the biggest fan of McDonald's, but you know what? It was actually pretty good. I had a samurai burger, so it was quite tasty. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, while we were there, the heat was pretty brutal, and because it was an orientation / meeting type of event, we had to be in business casual. Even though we didn't need to have the full, suit, jacket, tie, everything on, it was still not the ideal attire to be walking around in pretty hot weather. Luckily, I brought my umbrella, and so that kind of kept us in the shade. But yeah, it was hot. Kagoshima is a hot city in the summertime. I found that this orientation was more useful than the Tokyo orientation. I was kind of downplaying, or I was just kind of not very impressed with the Tokyo orientation, I should say. And I think the Kagoshima orientation was a lot more useful. It gave us more concrete information on what to do, even though there's still a lot of different, contracting organizations and places we work for. I actually got tangible information that I could use and apply, so I'm really happy about that. After that, on Monday evening, we went out and we got some Sri Lankan food in Tenmonkan, which is kind of the main shopping area in Kagoshima City, and Tenmonkan is great. There's so many cool stores. I already want to go back there and just kind of explore some more, but Tenmonkan's great, and the Sri Lankan food did not disappoint either. I'm a fan of Sri Lankan Indian cuisine, and we ordered this workman's lunch which had this grilled pineapple, curry, this yellow rice, and I also ordered an aloo paratha, which is a stuffed naan type of thing with potato inside, and I needed that. I've been on my we ate I've been eating a lot of mostly Japanese style food, lots of like onigiri from family marts and convenience stores. Yeah, so a lot of Japanese style food in general, and it was a much needed break from that. My taste buds were appreciative, you could say. But otherwise, yeah, it was a great restaurant. I think it's called like Sri Lanka Kagoshima. If anyone's ever in the area, I recommend checking it out. I also had a Sri Lankan lager that I quite enjoyed. I like beers, and I think lagers are pretty good. So that was also nice. On Friday, when we came back to Kagoshima, I actually we went to another kind of you could say foreign food place, I guess. Something I was like, no, it wasn't Cafe Leone, but it was something Leone. It was an Italian place, and that was, amazing as well. Great pizza. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And again, while we were at KAPIC, we only had like Japanese style food, which I'll get into in a little bit. And so again, it was a nice refresher to have some pizza after quite some time. On Saturday, which is yesterday, we went shopping with my friend who is an ALT in Nakatane, so just one town south of me on Tanegashima. And we secured the bag. We got some omiyage for my friends and coworkers back home. But like I said, Tamonkan's a great place to go shopping, and I found one antique store in particular that had some really cool finds. So I definitely want to go hit that store up again. Had this nice like red, blue, white like vintage style Reebok jacket. I didn't buy it, but maybe if I visit again, I might be tempted. It looked really cool. I was just thinking that I don't know when I would be wearing it in Tanegashima because it's kind of hot and humid here. But my friend was saying that it might come in handy in the winter, so I might give it a second look. I'm sorry that this section was a little chronologically misplaced, where I talked about Kagoshima before KAPIC and Kagoshima after KAPIC. Sorry, you see, I'm switching between KAPIC and KAPIC now. It's weird. But now to the actual KAPIC experience itself, which was from like Tuesday afternoon to like Friday morning, I should say. And again, I mentioned this in the intro, but the countryside part, they were not lying about it, right? It's like Kagoshima Asian Pacific Intercultural Countryside Center, and like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of close to Mount Sakurajima, but like there's no convenience stores nearby. Nothing. It's kind of its own little spot. There's some like farms nearby, but otherwise it's really out there. With my luck, so there's a limited number of rooms, and so we either got drawn into like a two-person room or like a tatami room. And with my luck, like I already knew we were drawing lots, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting one of the tatami rooms, which meant that I would be sleeping with like 6, 7 other people. Ended up drawing the tatami room, ended up sleeping in the same room with around 6, 7 other people. So that was not a good experience. I did not like it. It's fun to kind of bond like that. You certainly bond and get to know people more closely if you're in that kind of situation. But I couldn't really sleep, which detracted from my like overall KAPIC experience. The meals at KAPIC were amazing. Like I think they're kind of like a Japanese school lunch style. We always had like a little bowl of soup, lots of miso soup. We also always got this rice bowl. Like I never had rice for 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it was actually pretty good. I wish there was a little bit more veggies. Like I remember we'd get like some katsu, which is just like fried chicken, if I'm not mistaken, and then there'd be like 2 slices of cucumber and 1 slice of like tomato next to it, and I'm like, oh, I always never in my life did I think that I would be cleaning out the veggies in like this on a plate, but I was scavenging for those pieces of cucumbers. Yeah, just to kind of balance the meal out. Yeah, like I said, I wish there were more veggies, and I enjoy pastries on occasion. There's not really any baked goods there, and nothing really, even really sweet. Every meal was savory, so I wish that there was, like, I don't know, cereal in the morning. I don't know. That sounds so American, but yeah. No, but overall, though, I really enjoyed it, and like I found that most meals I just went up and got and took seconds because they would put out the extra stuff they had once everyone had gotten a bowl. In terms of culture, so while we were at KAPIC, we were able to participate in a number of cultural programs, and I found them to be very enjoyable. I learned a lot, and unlike some other cultural programs, they were not like dry at all. And what I mean is they were interesting, and they was more interactive, and yeah, I think they were very enjoyable. One of the first cultural programs we did was we went to a museum. And I actually didn't explore the museum too much. I ended up playing a bunch of chess with some of the other ALTs, but it was cool. The museum handed out kind of garments from all around the world. Like there's some from Africa, lots of clothes from like Asia Pacific countries. I think I had this like Chinese origin robe that I put on. Yeah, so we did a little dressing up. Everyone looked really cool, and it was just nice to experience the kind of clothing of other cultures. Speaking of clothing of other cultures, I think later that day we had a kimono dressing session, and these kind wise ladies from this like kimono association helped us out. They kind of demonstrated like how to like, or they helped basically put us into a kimono and dress us up because we were all clueless. My favorite part was the tabi, which are these like socks that like they separate your big toe from the rest of your toes. But apparently like samurai used those because it made sure that your footsteps were like very quiet. And I was just thinking, I wish I had some tabi when I was younger and I was sneaking around the house at night. My feet always were creaking and cracking on the hardwood floor. But I'm obviously not Japanese, and I was really grateful to be able to kind of experience and appreciate kind of these various cultural elements, including being able to put on a kimono for the first time. So the next and probably my favorite kind of cultural event that we did was calligraphy and flower arrangement. You could choose one of them, and I chose calligraphy. I did not want to. I just didn't think the flower arrangement was for me. But the flower arrangement, it looked cool once people were finished. I saw their final product, and it looked pretty cool. But for us in the calligraphy group, we had a demonstration by some calligraphy experts. They had really intricate technique. I was I was shocked. I mean, obviously they're experts, but it was just really cool to see them at work and being able to write kanji and hiragana and katakana just in in a very professional manner. I think it was really good for me because I saw like how they were drawing them and the stroke order they were using. So I'm hoping to apply that in the kanji that I write like kind of every day. After the demonstration, we got to practice a little bit ourselves, and then we made our final product. So now I have my name in kanji on this little like plaque that I made. The language classes we took at sorry, I just skipped ahead there. We had one final cultural element class that we did, which was shochu tasting. Well, this wasn't really a class, but shochu is interesting. It's kind of like vodka, but goes down smoother. It's less alcohol content. Tanegashima and Kagoshima are actually famous for sweet potato shochu. And I think the reason it's similar to vodka is I think vodka is also potato based and shochu can be sweet potato based. So kind of an interesting comparison there. I didn't drink too much. I tried the most expensive one because it was free, so why not? And this green tea one. There was a little incident that happened with one of the ALTs, so I helped clean that up. I was like, I'm a janitor, or I used to be a janitor, so I should be the one to take up the mantle in this situation. So that was kind of the cultural elements or cultural classes that we took part in. We also had language classes every day, and I really enjoyed those as well. We had a really great teacher, and I enjoyed working with him. And also, I've been studying Japanese, but I've been basically entirely through self-study, through Duolingo, various apps, talking to friends and watching copious amounts of anime. So I really enjoyed having kind of a more formalized style, like a formal learning environment. That was really cool. I was a little tired, so that kind of impeded my learning, but I was still happy to be there and very happy to finally have some formal Japanese training. I think my overall experience was, it was phenomenal. I had a great time. I wanted, if any of the KAPIC staff are listening to this, I just want to say thank you. The entire KAPIC staff was great, excellent hosts. So I really appreciate what they did for us. So thank you. I think it was also, KAPIC was a great opportunity to bond with other ALTs that I might not necessarily get to see a lot because my placement and just like work and life. But so it was good to bond with them and get to meet them and introduce myself. I'm not the biggest fan of small talk. Sometimes I think it's just kind of like useless chatter and white noise. But the people I met there speaking of the ALTs, they were, I met a lot of great people there, made a lot of friends, and so I'm glad for that. I'm glad I kind of put myself in that position, went out there and socialized. I did get really tired because there was like constant 24/7 interactions, and especially like the tatami room kind of guaranteed that. I was especially kind of exhausted after the tatami talk, which was when we were just all about to go to sleep and one of the people in the room started talking, and then there was this kind of cacophony of conversations occurring, and I was just trying to sleep. I'm like, oh, this is sayaku, the vocab word from my previous episode. But yeah, great little excursion in the countryside. It's a countryside center, but the countryside was really beautiful. I had the opportunity to go on a run in the morning with one of my friends, and it was cool. We ran to a shrine, and like it was just a picturesque landscape. I've been finding a lot of those while I've been here in the Kagoshima region, so really happy about that. But yeah, great experience at KAPIC. A bit overwhelming, but I'm very appreciative of the opportunity, or I'm thankful to have had the opportunity to participate in KAPIC and just attend the Kagoshima orientation. In any case, with that being said, let's cut to the break. And after the break, let's discuss the FIBA World Cup that is happening right now, which will be our current event for the week. Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about the FIBA World Cup that's happening right now. FIBA stands for Fédération Internationale du Basketball. That's my really bad rendition of a French accent, so hopefully I didn't completely butcher that, but please enjoy me trying to struggle with that. It's probably some entertainment. I've been watching basketball for about 5 years now. I started watching because LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, in my opinion. And so through that, I've kind of become a Lakers fan over the years, and just been an avid enjoyer, consumer of basketball content. That being said, I cannot play basketball for my life, so you'll probably never catch me on a court. But hopefully, maybe if I have a lot of money one day, then I'll be sitting courtside. So, in any case, the FIBA World Cup has 32 teams participating. It goes from August 25th to September 10th. There are 3 host nations, I believe: Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan. And I believe the main one is Indonesia. It's kind of cool that Japan's hosting because some of the games are in Okinawa. I could have maybe flown out there, but they were starting to happen this week, and it was just a short notice, so I decided to just kind of come home and try reset the household. I need to buy a bunch of groceries and do a bunch of laundry. So maybe I can catch some games next time, if there will be a next time. What I wanted to talk about and discuss in this segment as well is how the NBA is a little bit different than FIBA. So the NBA is the Basketball Association, a National Basketball Association that plays in the U.S., and FIBA is obviously the international body that organizes things like the World Cup. So one of the differences is that the court size is smaller. FIBA has a smaller court. Also, the three-point line is closer. The ball is also different, so they're the same size, but they have a kind of like a different feel to them, different texture. The games are shorter. FIBA has only 40 minutes, while NBA has 48. And there's some other small changes too, like what you can do during a free throw, how long the free throw takes, etc. And so I think I've been enjoying watching some of the highlights from the warm-up games that the USA has played, and I was able to catch the USA's first game against New Zealand yesterday. But it's interesting to seeing a lot of the U.S. players who play in the NBA try and adapt to these small changes that are like rooted in your mind, because you're at the free throw line, and instead of having 10 seconds to shoot the ball, you only have 5. So it's taking them out of their comfort zone, and it's interesting to see how they adapt. In the World Cup, there's like 2 teams that I'm kind of rooting for. One of them is Japan, and the other is U.S. Japan, I gotta root for Japan. I'm living here, and also I really like the way they play. I've watched some games. I watched some highlights of theirs, and they play with a lot of teamwork, a lot of ball movement, high IQ plays, and lots of 3-point shots. So I find them very enjoyable to watch. I gotta go with USA as my second team I'm supporting, probably the main team that I'm supporting. I like to support underdogs. USA is definitely not an underdog. I think they're favored to win the tournament, but those players on the team, I think they're great. I like their chemistry, and also because I watch the NBA, I've seen a lot of those players play, so at least I'm more familiar with them. Also, the USA has Austin Reeves, Lakers player, playing for them, so I gotta support. So, like I said, I watched the first game the U.S. had against New Zealand yesterday. Spoiler alert, the U.S. won in a pretty commanding way. But actually, in the beginning, they were in a little slump, a little deficit by about 10 points, I believe. That all changed when my guy Austin Reeves entered the floor along with Paolo Banchero. Austin Reeves is a Lakers player. He went undrafted. And yeah, he's kind of blown up since then. Some people say he's a little overhyped, but I think the way he's been playing, he's been showing his worth for sure. So he made some clutch shots and put the USA back on track, along with, like I said, Paulo Banchero, who is I'm glad I could bring him up because he's actually, I believe he grew up in Seattle, or at least I know he went to high school in Seattle. He went to O'Day, if I'm not mistaken. But that's kind of cool that someone from the Seattle area is tearing it up for Team USA. So yeah, go team, I guess. But I'm interested to see how the World Cup plays out. Hopefully, I can catch some other games as well, and I'm interested to see how far Japan and the USA go. So hopefully that was a fun little segment, and it wasn't too boring for those of you who do not enjoy watching NBA or don't really know anything about basketball. I promise I'll be back with something a little bit more relevant for y'all in the current events section for next week. In any case, let's cut to the outro where we will have our word and stat of the week. Alright, thank you all as always for tuning in till the very end and making it to the section that probably everyone has been waiting for, which is the word and stat of the week. So the word of the week, this is kind of interesting. It's kureru or kuremasu, which can mean to give or to receive, depending on the context that it is used in, or to have something done for you. It is kind of a complicated word, complicated verb as well, I suppose, that I've been trying to learn recently over this past week, and it's been giving me some trouble. So, if any of my Japanese friends want to lend me a hand and shoot me a text explaining how to use it, then that would be much appreciated. But I think I'm getting the hang of it now. I just need to kind of burn it into my memory. It's quite a challenging word to use and to master. But I do think that once I have this word mastered, or I know how to use it and in what context to use it in, I think my Japanese will improve quite a lot, and I'll be able to create sentences that make more sense than the ones that I've been creating so far. So that's your word of the week for this week, kureru or kuremasu. The stat of the week is 5,000 yen, which is the price I had to pay for a night's stay at my hotel in Kagoshima. So 5,000 yen. I think the other one was 5,000 as well. 5,000, 4,000, 4,500. That around that range. So the 5,000 was the one I paid what I paid for to stay on Friday evening in Kagoshima, and it was 5,000 yen's about between $30 to $40. So it's not too bad of a price. I'm still not sure whether that's kind of a good price in Kagoshima or just kind of in general. This weekend or for the rest of the day, I want to focus on doing some budgeting so I can better keep track of my money, because now I need to, and even when I was in college, I didn't need to budget all that much, but now that I'm living out here by myself in Japan, I kind of have to, budget for groceries, bills, stuff like that. So it's I need to really keep track of my money. But that's your stat of the week, 5,000 yen. So thank you for tuning in, listening till the very end. Next week I'll be back, and on Friday actually will be my first day at school teaching, so I'll be discussing that in next week's episode. So please come back and listen to that, because I'll have some interesting things to say, hopefully. I hope everyone has had a great week this week, and you have a great one next week. Thank you again for listening. This has been Tatami Room, Episode 4, KAPIC, or KAPIC, as my British friends would say. My name is Martin, and I'll see you back here next week. Peace.